Sunny closed his eyes tightly, then opened them again, desperately wishing that the runes before him would vanish. "Please be gone. Please," he silently begged. But the runes remained, faintly glowing, as if mocking his plea. Flaw. Clear conscience. Flaw description. You cannot lie. Sunny's gaze fixed on those 3 simple words, his heart sinking. The spell, usually playful with its wording, had stripped away all ambiguity this time. 3 words, no more, no less. They left him no room for escape. Can't lie. I can't lie. Me? How am I supposed to live if I can't lie? He thought frantically. His entire existence had been built on deception and outwitting others. Even the spell itself had congratulated him on his cunning. Without the ability to lie, he felt he would be rendered powerless. But then, a horrifying realization struck him. His heart skipped a beat, as if it were about to stop altogether. If he could no longer lie, how could he keep his true name hidden? Wouldn't anyone just need to ask a few innocent questions to control him? He opened his mouth, about to scream or curse, but then the spell spoke again. Wake up, lost from light. The black void around him spun and dissolved. Sunny opened his eyes. He found himself staring up at the armored ceiling of the police station's vault, a sight both mundane and comforting. No one would ever call it beautiful, but to him it was magnificent. It was safe and familiar, far from the monsters and slavers he'd feared. At least, officially, there were no monsters here, and the constant threat of death had faded away. It felt like home. Moreover, Sunny noticed he felt incredible. The cold that had burrowed deep into his bones during the nightmare was gone. His body, which had been tormented day after day, was now free of pain. His wrists and feet, once raw with agony, no longer hurt. His back, scarred by countless lashes, had forgotten the torment. Even his broken ribs, which had once made it feel as though he could barely breathe, no longer caused him pain. It was a blessing. The absence of pain, paired with the newfound vitality coursing through him, nearly made Sunny weep. I really survived. He looked down at himself, then froze. Sitting on a cheap plastic chair beside his reinforced medical bed was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. She had short, raven black hair and piercing icy blue eyes. Her skin was flawless, smooth, and as white as snow. In fact, this was the first time Sunny had seen someone so pale, even paler than him. But where his pale complexion looked sickly and unnatural, hers only accentuated her striking beauty. The woman appeared to be in her late 20s. She wore a dark blue uniform with silver epaulets and black leather boots. Her jacket was casually unbuttoned, revealing a black tank top beneath. At that moment, she stretched her arms above her head, clearly bored and tired. The action forced her jacket's fabric to stretch tight, drawing Sunny's attention to her figure. Mesmerized, he almost missed the insignia on her left sleeve, a set of 3 stars. 3 stars, huh? Sunny thought, distracted. 3 stars mean an ascended weight. An ascended. Before he could fully process the significance of the term, he realized the woman was staring at him. What are you looking at? She asked, her voice devoid of humor. Sunny blinked, embarrassed. He quickly tried to come up with an excuse and opened his mouth to speak. Your breasts. In an instant, horror flooded his body. He hadn't planned to say those words at all. His mouth had moved on its own. Panic surged through him, and for a moment, he feared he might pass out from the terror. The woman slowly smiled, a dangerous gleam in her eyes. Without warning, she moved swiftly and slapped him across the face. Sunny's body jerked violently. If not for the restraints holding him down, he might have been thrown off the bed entirely. For a moment, he saw stars, but considering the circumstances, he had gotten off lightly. She was an ascended. She could have torn his head off with a flick of her finger. Why had he offended someone so powerful? The woman cleared her throat and crossed her arms. Are you awake now? She asked. Sunny, still holding his sore cheek, nodded carefully. Good. Let me give you a piece of advice, she continued, her tone flat. Don't just say anything that comes to your mind, especially to girls. It's not like you haven't seen a girl before, right? Sunny's mind screamed. Say thank you. I definitely will not. But instead, his mouth betrayed him again. I've seen plenty, but no one as beautiful as you. He cringed, his face flushed redder than ever. The woman studied him for a moment, then burst into laughter. I see you haven't met many Awakened then. By Awakened standards, I'm below average. Sunny raised an eyebrow in doubt. She shook her head. As your soul core develops, the body rids itself of imperfections. So it's hard to find an unattractive Awakened, especially among the stronger ones. Live long enough, and you might just become a flower boy yourself. She paused, looking him over thoughtfully. Well, maybe. Anyway, since you're awake, welcome back to the land of the living. Congratulations on surviving your first nightmare. Sleeper Sunless. Sleeper Sunless. That was the title now attached to him. A name given by the spell. It felt odd to be addressed like that. In the past, people hardly ever called him by name. He was more often referred to as boy, punk, or simply hey you. But now he had a title. Sleeper Sunless. Actually, the correct term was dreamer. But humans had their own term for those affected by the nightmare spell. Those who had just completed their first nightmare were called sleepers, as their bodies slumber while their spirits journeyed through the dream realm. If they survived and became awakened, they would return to normal life during the day, but would enter the dream realm every time they slept. The awakened were still called sleepers by the spell, but humans had begun calling them awakened as well. If they managed to survive a second nightmare, they would become ascended, called masters. Masters could enter and exit the dream realm at will. Some even chose never to return there again. And above the masters, there were the saints, those who had survived the third nightmare and became transcendent, near godlike beings with the ability to travel freely between the dream realm and the real world, even bringing others with them. But for now, Sunny was simply a sleeper. The beautiful woman stood up, moving toward his bed with graceful steps. She began undoing the restraint, holding him in place. I am Ascended Jet. You can call me Master Jet, she said. These past 3 days, I was on watch duty due to your nightmare. Sunny remembered the policeman's words before he fell asleep. An awakened would arrive to monitor him, ensuring that if he died, the nightmare creature wouldn't escape. Sunny hesitated but then asked, Master Jet, I have a question. Go on, she replied. Why would a master be put on watch duty? Isn't it below your pay grade? Jet gave him a dark look. You're smarter than you seem. Recently, there have been a lot of gates opening in this sector. Most of the local awakened are either injured, occupied with cleanup, or dead. It's always like this near the winter solstice. She released his last restraint and stepped back. Plus, there are many awakened like me who work directly for the government. It's by far the least glamorous or lucrative role one of us could choose. Would you abandon wealth and fame to work grueling hours and risk your life, fueled only by altruism and duty? Sunny smirked and replied, Of course not. I'm not an idiot. Jet stared at him for a moment, her expression humorless. Sunny braced himself, expecting another slap, but instead she smiled. See, I was right. You really are smart.